talk about the truck a little bit and kind of give some updates. It's been a little while since we've talked about it. We recently got the new intake manifold on here last weekend. You saw the short of that a few days ago. Basically, this is our manifold that we make for the stock CDI chassis. Got rid of the prototype manifold that was on here. We redid our charge piping. Got the map sensor and the air temp sensor pretty much in the same spot they used to be. Really happy with how that came out. The other side of the equation was this compound kit. This is all for testing. We wanted to see what plays nicely together and what doesn't. We basically have an HE351 with a billet wheel on top of a HE250 that has the wastegate bolted shut. The original iteration of this was our first prototype manifold with no external wastegate provision, just trying to use the stock wastegate on this that had a 20-pound spring in it. With this on a spring gate, come under here so you can kind of see that. So we've got our spring gate here. I can adjust the base pressure on this. That's a 26 pounds per inch spring, basically. But now we have this external wastegate prototype manifold on here, and we have our dump recircing back to the interstage hot pipe. We originally tested this a couple days ago with just a 14 psi or 14 pound base spring and the external gate. We then moved to the max base pressure that this Hypergate 45 can do, which is 26 psi or pounds. I'm finding that I want to bias a little more towards the HE351. So what we're going to do today is pop that wastegate back off, and we're going to pull, I believe it's the orange 5-pound spring out of there. So we'll go down to 21 pounds of base pressure. We'll go take a data log and see how much interstage boost we're getting now that we have that sensor wired in. All right, I've also had a few people ask me why I don't have a fender liner on this side. And it's really for this purpose. I can pop the wheel off and get in here pretty easily and access all the clamps to the wastegate. I already marked the boost reference line going to the top port with a little tape, so I remember where that goes, but we've got these nice Motion Raceworks fittings on here. Makes life a little easier. All right, so we got our wastegate out and apart. It's our 14-pound spring. It's our 7-pound spring. 5-pounder we're gonna leave out. Just gonna put these two guys back in and put it all back together. I wanted to talk a little bit more about how our testing is going. When we had the max base pressure you can put into the Hypergate, which is 26 pounds of spring pressure, I didn't have any wastegate duty going to it with our boost controller. I just left it so it does what it wants to do. We were making a total of 45 pounds of boost and 15 pounds of interstage pressure. I would really like to see similar total boost, but about 20 pounds out of this. Just take some of the load off the HE250. Hopefully lower the manifold pressure a little bit. We're not at 2 to 1. We're at like 1.7 to 1 right now. I just think that housing is probably a little too small, so we'll see how that goes, biasing a little more towards this in the top end. We really only start to see the manifold pressure creep up as we go past about 4,000 RPM, since, you know, being a smaller straight six diesel, we're revving this out to $5,000. With our current configuration, depending on what gear we're in, you know, we can load this in 4th gear and we'll see 40 pounds of boost by 2,300 RPM, which is fantastic with this combination. You know, in 3rd gear, we're not seeing that until around 3,000 RPM. There's just not enough load on the motor. But in this current setup, the truck scoots. We'll throw some clips of the drive-bys. All right, now that you saw the current configuration drive-by, I'm going to show you the previous drive-by, which was this spring gate at minimum base pressure. So we were only making about 7 pounds a boost at interstage. Total boost was a little lower. We saw higher drive pressure out of the manifold. So we'll throw that one in here. Also wanted to talk about the way the truck sounds right now is not how it's going to sound at the end of the day. With modifying this new manifold to have a external wastegate port on it, it actually pushed everything out a little bit, which just kind of you know, stacks a bunch of dominoes against each other, moving everything out. And so now the only thing that fits is our downpipe. I've got the rest of the exhaust sitting over here. We were messing with it, trying to get it to fit around the transfer case. It doesn't fit, so I'll have to remake this to get that to fit under the truck. So right now, we're just doing a dump, you know, so that sounds a little crazier than it will once we get everything back on the truck, but I want to get our wastegate setup finalized here before we put everything back together. I'd like to actually just build out the exhaust and come out the driver's side, out the rear, you know, make it look a little more factory. Just want to wrap things up here. We got everything back together. We got the 21-pound base spring back in, went out and did some testing, got some logs. Still fighting exhaust manifold pressure. It has the same trend as with our other style manifold. I made some changes to this manifold, thinking that we might improve it, but I believe that this HE250 is our choke point right now. So the next thing we're gonna do is pull all this off actually and try a BorgWarner S257 as a single and get some exhaust manifold pressure data, and then we're actually going to try this guy as a single and do the same thing. Okay, we're gonna do another little update here. Decided to throw the S257 on and start getting all this fit up. I'm not doing the wastegate back into the downpipe or anything because this is just testing. So got a little dump pipe made up, got a little mock-up downpipe made up just to, you know, kick the exhaust down and out of the way. It's still gonna be out of the way of the tire. Waiting on a reducer coupler so that I can make my elbow that goes to here, and then waiting on one of these quick connect fittings so I can run my boost control off the turbo. So we'll wait for that. It's Memorial Day weekend, so I'm not going to see anything till Tuesday or Wednesday. Well, I couldn't help myself. Had to fire it up and see what she sounds like. Even though I don't have the stuff to make that yet.